Hi everyone, and welcome to the Practice Growth with Pras podcast. I'm your host, Pras Murthy, CFO and co-founder at Dr. Multimedia, where for the last 10 years I've been helping practices grow all across the country. We started this podcast so we could dive deeper into the issues around practice growth, from online marketing to the way you run your business. We know doctors are busy people and you don't have a lot of time to study these kinds of topics, so we're hoping this audio podcast makes it really easy to stay up to date with what's going around the country. We'll be interviewing top doctors, successful practice managers, and other experts in the field. Without further ado, let's get started. One of the most important things to realize when you're talking about Google advertising, also known as Google AdWords, is that it's never going to be cheaper than it is right now. And I really want that to sink in for a lot of our clients out there, is that Google advertising is never going to be cheaper than it is right now. Now the reason for that is that Google Ads is an auction. So when you decide you're going to put some money into Google to rank higher on the search engines, to get some clicks, what happens is what you're willing to spend is put against what everybody else is willing to spend, and that's how they determine the price. So it's not like the days of the yellow pages where there was a set price for a set amount of placement or a certain size ad. This price is being calculated in real time. So since it's an auction, the more people that do it, the higher the prices are, because the more people that are competing for the same attention, the same patients, the same clicks. So even though it's 2019 and people have been running Google AdWords for 10 or 15 years already, as a doctor, you actually don't face that much competition yet. And so we're urging all of our clients to at least start the process of advertising some of your budget in Google. It is Google after all. Everybody wants to rank number one on Google, but not as many people are willing to do paid advertising. But once you get to that point, you want to do it, and you want to do it now because you'll enjoy the lowest prices as possible, because again, Google advertising is never going to be cheaper than it is today. Now, the next thing that you need to know about Google advertising, and I think this one's really important to understand before you start, is that it might not work. In fact, you might even make the argument that it's probably not going to work. But the thing is, it's not Google Ads that's going to work or not. It's not the idea of paid advertising on the internet that's going to work or not. It's about everything else. It's that your budget might not have worked. The keywords you went after might not have worked. The landing page you had set up, the offer that you were putting out there, those things might not have worked to get you the return you were expecting or you were hoping for off of your Google advertising. But as a platform, as a way to advertise, as a means of marketing, there's no debate as whether or not Google AdWords works or not. It's just a matter of how much is it generating based on what you're spending. And there's always some optimal level. Even if that number is zero somehow, there's always an optimal level to which you should be investing on Google. So we get a lot of people, and actually Google is the biggest advocate of this. We've learned this lesson talking to them over the years and years of our Google partnership. But what we've learned is that a lot of times people will run Google ads, they won't see the results they were expecting in as fast a period as they were expecting it. They determine that Google AdWords doesn't work for their business and they move on. Whereas Google will tell you they either weren't investing enough in their budget, they were targeting the wrong people, they were wasting money on clicks, they weren't having an appealing enough incentive to garner attention, they have a lot of competition. The list kind of goes on, and it's about fine-tuning it. So what I want my clients to know is that it's still a good idea to try Google advertising whether it works or not. What you're paying for is the data, the information, and the experience of trying it out so that you can learn what a cost clicks in your area, how many of your competitors are doing it, what keywords are most successful. Now take that information and decide what it would take for Google AdWords to work for you, and then you can decide whether you want to do it or not. But remember, Google Ads might not work. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. There's still a lot of value in advertising on Google and learning your lessons as a result of the data that you get. The next thing that you should know about Google Ads is that you can absolutely do it yourself. I make sure to disclose this to every client of mine that I talk to, because I don't want it to be this magical or mystical thing like a lot of marketers make it out to be, where it's going to be impossible for you to do and you have to pay another company to do it. It's simply not true. You could easily call up Google, you could get an account going, you can pay them direct, and you can manage the AdWords account on your own, no problem whatsoever. But the reason my clients don't is they don't have the time, the energy, or even the interest to be doing any of those things. Whereas another business owner who doesn't have to see patients all day long might be able to manage their AdWords account in addition to everything else they're doing, and we want to keep a really close eye on it. Most of the time, if one of my clients tries to do AdWords on their own, they call Google, they set it up, they get it going, they pay their bill, and they never look at it again. And that's absolutely the worst way that you could be doing Google AdWords. Google AdWords is about reading the results, analyzing them, and reacting to the information that you're being given in real time. That's what makes it a successful marketing platform, that you can make adjustments on the fly, day to day, minute by minute, hour by hour. That's brand new when you think about old forms of marketing like TV commercials or radio commercials, Yellow Pages ads, newspaper ads, being in the local mailer. All of those you have to give 6 months, a year, multiple years before you can even begin to figure out if it worked or not. A platform like Google Ads gives you real-time results and you can make adjustments. But what comes along with that benefit is the fact that it needs constant attention. And again, you absolutely could do this on your own, but you should be in the account every day, looking over the results, making adjustments to your bids, refining your keywords, looking at searches, understanding what negative keywords you have to have, increasing your budget, decreasing your budget. And ultimately, that's not anything that most of my clients would want to do themselves. So absolutely, you can do Google AdWords yourself. You can do it well on your own, but you have to be willing to invest the time, the energy, and the attention into what you're doing to see the results. If you're not, it's not going to perform well, and you're essentially going to be wasting some of your money. That's where a company like Dr. Multimedia, there's lots of agencies out there that do it, but particularly we do it for our clients because we know that we need to take all of that off of your plate. We boil it down to what budget you want to run. We produce simplified reports for you to take a look at, get a general idea if things are going well or not. And of course, if you want to dive deeper, we've got marketing specialists on hand at any hour of the day to review those results with you and help you understand what's going on. So again, remember, you absolutely can do Google Ads on your own, but you may not want to. Another important lesson when it comes to Google advertising is that most businesses are spending way more on Google Ads than you would ever dream of. We get it. You're a medical practice. You might only have 1 doctor, 2 doctors. You have overhead. You have a lot of expenses. Trust me, we understand. When you look at corporations or what other local companies or vendors are spending, it can easily be in the tens of thousands of dollars a month when it comes to your Google ad budget. And they wouldn't do it if they didn't see a return. So on some level, you know it's worth it for them or they would stop, and they do see positive results. Now we know from experience, unless you're a select few of our clients, we can't really propose that you spend tens of thousands of dollars a month in Google Ads, but we still think it's a good idea to do Google advertising and to do it soon because prices are as low as they're ever gonna be. And you do want to dip your toe in the water and build some history with Google advertising to understand how it could impact your business. So here at Dr. Multimedia, what we do to bridge the gap is we're willing to run your ads even at really small budgets, whether it's $500, $750, $1,000 a month. Unlike most pay-per-click companies out there, we happily accept budgets of that size because we understand that 1, it's still a real expense for our clients and a bit of a burden when you talk about a new expense that came out of nowhere. But 2, we so strongly believe that you need to get started that we're happy to take the loss in terms of the amount of labor and time and effort and energy that goes into it for a budget like that, because we know that if you do it now and you see some early success, that you'll likely do it in the future, or even if you don't, you'll have tried it when you were supposed to, as opposed to waiting 2 or 3 years until it's more mainstream and every one of your competitors are doing it, and now you're doing it because you have to. We know that the early adopters will see the best results. So the important thing is that when you look at what you might be comfortable spending compared to what companies are actually spending on Google Ads, your budget's going to pale in comparison. And so a little bit of perspective can go a long way. And that's what we do here, and that's why we're successful helping our clients with Google Ads, is that we will take whatever is comfortable to you and put that into Google Ads, and even if it's not nearly enough to see meaningful results, we will share with you what that does get, so then you can make an educated and informed decision whether to do more of this, whether to pull back, put that money elsewhere, or to cancel something else you're doing and put more money into Google advertising to see what it will do for you. And the next thing I want to talk about when it comes to Google Ads is actually a bit of a recap of something we've already discussed at length in another video, but it's so important that I think we should bring it up again. And that's that, in a nutshell, this is the way online marketing is moving. You know, a lot of our clients are still reeling from the idea of mobile devices and social media, Google reviews. They're just catching up to these things that have been in the online marketing world for years. Google advertising or pay-per-click advertising is that next plateau for our clients. It's already old news for most people, but it's still relatively new for a lot of our clients. And if you understand that this is where we're trending, this is what Google is asking for, a lot of you are already trained now to the point where you want to be number one on Google or you want to be higher on Google. That only came after years of people telling you it was important to rank highly on Google. Well, with our clients, we're always trying to get these messages to you as early as possible because we know it takes time for them to sink in. The message now is the future of online marketing is trending towards pay-per-click advertising. And getting in there now, getting in there early, understanding it and getting some experience with it is exactly what you need to be successful down the road or more successful than your peers. You know, it's the same thing as if someone had given you the opportunity to start a Facebook page 3 years before you did. If someone had given you the opportunity to start racking up Google reviews 4 years before you actually did. What we're trying to talk about, and the reason we make such a big deal out of it, is this is the opportunity to get involved with pay-per-click advertising a couple years before it becomes one of those things that you just have to do, like your website, like your social media, like your reviews, like your mobile presence, et cetera, et cetera. So it really is important and to recognize trends as they happen. And for those of you, if you hired Dr. Multimedia, you're already on kind of one end of the spectrum in terms of being forward thinking about your online marketing and making sure you don't lose that momentum thinking, well, I've built a website, I have a Facebook page, I've got some Google reviews, I'm done. It seems to be that gone are the days of just ranking number one on Google. Now everyone's competing for map placement, to be placed at the top for ads, to show up on mobile devices for ads. And if you know that that's where Google is pointing, and by all accounts, that's what they're always putting out, or signals that Google advertising is what they care about, what they're focused on, it follows that as a business owner, you want to diversify some amount of your marketing budget, some amount of your portfolio needs to start to be earmarked for pay-per-click advertising. Google, Facebook, Yelp, Instagram, all these companies will be coming at you with opportunities. Google is the biggest one right now, so that's where we start. If you have a big enough budget, happy to discuss the other avenues. But starting to look at your marketing budget as one of those circle graphs with different pieces of the pie, and making sure that you have a piece that's going to online advertising, to Google Ads, and then increasing that piece from there based on what's appropriate for your business. But if it's not anywhere on your radar right now, you're making a mistake, and one that could easily be solved because you've already partnered with a company, Dr. Multimedia, to handle this for you. Now we just need to broach the next topic. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Practice Growth with Pras. I'm your host, Pras Murthy, and if you have any questions or comments, please visit us at drmultimedia.com. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're constantly sharing new content as part of our mission to take online marketing topics and make them relevant to your practice. And if you like what you heard, please tell a friend and leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Thanks so much for listening, and we can't wait to do it again.